Get ready for the encore.
Now, Batman's code gets tested almost every day. He is fighting hardened criminals constantly, after all. But there are always times when the test is harder. Let me give you an example. This is a hypothetical. Now, say a man is beating his child and the kid ends up in hospital. Now, obviously we'd all hate the guy and, it's an open and shut crime. We all want him to go to prison or worse. But what if it wasn't someone else's child, but your child? Or your brother? Or your sister? Someone close to you, you've got a personal connection. The personal link changes everything, and it makes it nearly impossible to keep calm. That's just how it goes. And that is what I mean by test. There are times when Batman has had seriously bad things happen to him with personal links to his trauma, and his code has been tested. And that is what we're going to go over. Arkham Shadow. Now, Joe Chill is in Arkham Shadow. It's the VR video game. And Joe Chill does come up a lot with these sort of times when Batman's code is tested. It's the only one we're going to be talking about in this video, but I did actually do a video on the topic not long ago, going over times Batman confronts his parents' killer. I'll put a link in the video's description, but the one time I didn't go over in that video was the game Arkham Shadow. And I left it out deliberately because I personally don't consider this to be a true confrontation between Batman and his parents' killer, but it was still very much a test of Batman's code, without a doubt. So basically, for those who haven't played it, in the game, Batman is undercover as Matches Malone in Arkham Asylum. He's doing this so he can uncover the Rat King's sinister plot. And one of the patients inside the asylum is, of course, Joe Chill. And Batman could have taken him out at any time. I mean, he has a lot of opportunities. Seriously, he's not even trapped in his cell, he gets out of it whenever he wants. So he could easily go out in the middle of the night and do something, or just do it during the day. There's several opportunities when he and Joe Chill are alone. And at the end of the day, he's there as Matches Malone, so Bruce Wayne wouldn't get in any trouble, neither would Batman. It would be this made-up person who gets in trouble. But instead of doing that, instead of breaking his code and getting his revenge, he lets Joe Chill carry on. Doesn't even say anything about it, because he believes in rehabilitation instead of punishment. Again, justice, not vengeance. Although Joe Chill is kind of experiencing both. He is very remorseful about what he did with the Waynes, and it's actually tearing him up inside all the bad things he's done. So he is still very much suffering. And it is kind of interesting because Batman often uses violence to get his anger out, and he beats and even tortures criminals during interrogations to get information. And that's because he considers that to be fair game. Any level of violence that is needed to take them down is fine, and any violence that is needed to get information out of them is also fine. I mean, it's proportional, he's not going to start chopping off their legs or something, but you know what I mean, he will go a bit extreme at times. But once they're arrested, he has to keep his hands off them. In a way, it's part of his code as well. He gets them to the law, and then they take over from there. But still, this is a real test for him. I mean, he's already reeling from someone else dying a few days ago, for which he blames himself. It's at the very beginning of the game, and it's kind of like the setup for why he goes undercover. And he easily could have covered up the death of Joe Chill and gotten away with it. I mean, he's Batman. And like I say, everyone thinks he's Matches Malone anyway, so he wouldn't get in any trouble even if he got caught. But then, his best friend Harvey Dent, who's slowly sort of morphing into Two-Face because his mind's breaking down, well, he works out that Joe Chill was the one who killed Batman's parents. And he gets a hold of him, and he gives Batman the chance to get even. Harvey even holds a gun to Joe Chill's head. He was going to do all the dirty work for him, and he would have received all the blame and all the punishment. And all Batman had to do was just stand there and let it happen. Just watch it happen. But that would be a violation of his code. So he not only stops it from happening, he even takes off his cowl and reveals who he is to both of them. Because it's actually the only way to save Joe Chill. Because Harvey's all like, well, how do you know Bruce Wayne wouldn't want me to kill him, huh? So he shows that he is Bruce Wayne and he doesn't want him to kill him. And so Batman lets Joe Chill go. And I think this is mainly to try and show Two-Face that there is another way to deal with problems, sure. I mean, he's trying to talk his best friend, who's Harvey Dent in this universe, and he's trying to talk him down and back to normal, so he's showing him there's other ways of dealing with these issues. Sure, I think that probably is more likely, but at the same time, who the hell cares? It doesn't matter. The point is, he's stuck to his code. It doesn't matter why he's stuck to his code, it matters that he stuck to it. Batman Begins. Now, this one is kind of a pass, but also kind of a fail. I mean, Batman doesn't technically kill Ra's al Ghul in this scene, sure, because apparently if Batman doesn't save someone who's about to die, then that's fine. Now, this was easily the best Batman film ever made when it came out, and it's still a very good film now, like it's definitely in the top 3 or 4 Batman films ever made. But it does have to be said that they didn't completely understand Batman's character. I mean, seriously, they didn't. You see, one of Batman's key characteristics is that he is compulsively obsessed with saving everyone around him, including the most evil of villains. It's all part of his trauma, and it's why he's always saving people like the Joker, even though we're all like, Jesus, man, let him die, he's a monster.
Newsflash! I'm the one who's trying to kill you!
The reason is quite simple. He basically saves others to help deal with the guilt of not saving his parents. He couldn't have saved them, obviously, he was a child, but watching them die like that gave him a lot of trauma and survivor's guilt, and they're powerful things. So it's why he compulsively has to save everyone. It's his way of coping. I mean, he may not even know he's consciously doing it, but he is doing it. So, taking that into account, he should have been compelled to save Ra's al Ghul. And comic book Batman would be. He would have saved Ra's al Ghul. Or at least tried to. I mean, he's tried to save him in the past and he just ended up killing himself because, Lazarus Pit. But seeing as he doesn't have a Lazarus Pit in this film franchise, well, he would just save him and then I'm sure Ra's al Ghul would let him. So, taking that into account, he should have been compelled to save Ra's. And comic book Batman would have. He definitely would have tried, and most likely succeeded. So this is a bit of a writing cock-up, really. But still, a good argument can be made that he didn't kill him. And I actually have no problem with Ra's dying like that. I genuinely don't. I mean, he's a monster. And it's not like Batman pulled the trigger himself, you know what I mean? But Batman would have a problem with this. You see, why I don't consider it breaking his code, Batman would consider it breaking its code. That's what I mean by they didn't really understand the character all the way. And I'm talking, of course, about the true Batman from the comics and the video games and the TV shows, and he definitely would be compelled to save him, and if not, he would hate himself forever if he let him die. Seriously, it tears him up when even the most evil of villains dies. There's actually one where the Riddler, who previously in this film nearly killed Batman, like shattered his skull, knows his identity and could ruin his life, and has basically been ruining his life for the past few months, and he's about to die, and Batman still goes out of his way to save him. And you're like, what the hell? I mean, he doesn't actually save him because Catwoman's like, no, you will die if you go in there, you idiot, let's go. But it does go to show that's what he's like. That is a genuine reflection of his character. That's how he is. So yeah, this one is a bit of a fail, but I kind of blame the writers really, because, well, it is their fault. The Batman. Now, this one I have talked about before, and it's pretty simple. Basically, the bad guys know who Batman and Robin are, so if they let them go, then they'll keep the secret. But if they send them to prison, then they'll tell everyone, and everyone will know who Batman and Robin are. So, what do you do? Well, Batman does what he always does. The right thing. He sends them to prison and accepts that his identity will be revealed, and then he will face the consequences of it when it happens. Which is exactly what he should do. He followed his code despite what it would cost him. Although it does have to be said, even if he'd let them go free, are 2 hardened criminals really going to honour their word and keep the secret? I mean, seriously. Especially considering the fact that they despise Batman and actually blame him for their parents' death. So they hate this guy with all their being. They have dedicated their lives to destroying his life. So the answer is obviously, no, they're going to sell the secret. Or they're just going to tell everyone for free. There's no way they were ever going to keep their word on this. They were never going to keep his identity. No matter what, the cat's out of the bag. Or bat in this case, I guess. Sorry, bad joke, but, bad pun, didn't really plan it. Anyway, so in that sense, Batman makes the only real decision he can. Now, again, doesn't really matter why he stuck to his code, he did stick to his code. I mean, it might not have even occurred to him that that would happen. He may have just said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going against my code. And that's fair. But he could have killed them, or incapacitated them quite easily, or locked them up in some private prison like a lot of superheroes do, but he didn't. He was a good boy, and he followed his moral code, and he handed them over to the police. Of course, as it turns out, he didn't hand them over to the police, he handed them over to the Joker, who has no code, except the Batman is his and his alone, so no one else can know his identity but the Joker. So, he then Joker gasses the other criminals' minds into oblivion, protecting Batman's secret identity. So, all in all, it actually worked out quite well for Batman, but in fairness, Batman had no idea that would happen. He was prepared to accept the consequences. And that is the mark of a great man. Someone who doesn't run from responsibility or weasel their way out of the consequences and finding loopholes, No, he sticks his guns, he follows through. And quite frankly, we should all hope that we have the strength to do the same if our moral codes are ever tested. Under the Red Hood. Okay, so this one is the ultimate test. In fact, it was actually the first one I wrote when I was doing this video. I was going to put it at the beginning, but I've talked about it a lot before, and I don't really want to keep going over it. So we're going to go through this one quickly, but it has to be mentioned, of course, because it is literally the ultimate test that he's ever had of his code. So we all know what happened. Joker has his partner and adopted son, Jason Todd, and he's beating him to death, and he kills him. So Batman wants to kill the Joker in revenge. Naturally, who wouldn't? But he doesn't. He sticks to his code, even though it's agony to do so. And this is without a doubt the greatest test of his life. And he manages to pass. But it's not easy. I mean, when Jason Todd comes back, he's all annoyed he didn't kill the Joker, but it wasn't easy on Batman, okay? It was the hardest decision he's ever made. And the reason he actually kept it was very simple. Batman admits to Jason that if he didn't keep his code, if he did break it and he did kill the Joker, well, that would be that. It's like shattering glass. Once it's broken, it's broken. That's how his code works. So he wouldn't be able to stop at just one murder. He'd kill Joker, then he'd kill Two-Face, then Penguin, and then all of his rogues gallery, and basically all of the villains he comes across, I imagine. Just all of them, totally. And we all know what an absolute Batman is like. And while he is entertaining, he is very violent. Now, why he can't stop at one murder, no idea. I don't get that at all. But I do respect the fact that Batman recognises his weakness. And much like an alcoholic, he deals with the issue by abstaining from his vice. It's quite clever. And as it turns out, it's actually very good that he does do this, because in an Elseworlds universe where he did kill the Joker for killing Jason Todd, well, he then did exactly what he thought he would. He went on a killing spree and killed all the other villains in his rogues gallery, and basically Batman as a serial killer is born. So it seems like Batman is, like always, correct in his assessment. He can't break his moral code, or he will go murder crazy. Arkham Knight. Now, I actually think this one is extremely interesting. Basically, Ra's al Ghul is dying, and the only thing that can save him is some stronger version of the Lazarus Pit chemicals that Batman has gone and recovered, and now has to decide whether he's going to give it to Ra's and save his life, or not give it to him and let him die. And not only do you get to decide what Batman does, but it also asks the question, is letting him die a natural death the same as murdering him? Because it does sound like a no, doesn't it? I mean, it's a natural death, you're not doing it. But then on the other side of that, you're literally holding the cure in your hand. So you're refusing to give him the one thing that could save his life. That's kind of a little bit like murder, or at least manslaughter, really. And it's the only cure in the world as well, so it's literally his only hope. And I really like this moral conundrum, because this is a question that has no answer. I mean, not really. There's no obvious wrong or right. You can make an argument for either one. And likely, as you grow, how you feel about this will change as your perspective changes. And for those reasons, I think this is one of the best tests for Batman ever. Because strong arguments can be made either way. Seriously, they can. Especially when we're talking about saving the life of a mass murderer who's the head of a murder cult. So killing him will likely help the world. But at the same time, it might also start a gang war of ninjas in Gotham City. Because the League of Assassins has said to Batman that if he doesn't cure him, they are going to burn that city to the ground. Which adds another layer to this, doesn't it? Because the morals of that have got even more to consider with. Now, as it turns out, there is actually a way out of this and the war's not really an issue, so it doesn't really matter that part. But he doesn't know that in the beginning, and it is still an extra consideration. But still, it is a very good test. And I love the fact that technically Batman isn't being tested. We are, because we're the ones who get to decide what happens. So there's no yelling at the TV afterwards saying, Batman, what the hell are you doing? You shouldn't have done that. You should have let him die. What's wrong with you? Because you can't yell at the TV because, well, he makes whatever decision you want. And we all know the correct one for Batman is obviously to save him. As I said, he compulsively has to save everyone. But it's up to you, not Batman. So it can go either way, really. Though, if we're being honest, I think we all know that letting Ra's al Ghul die of old age is definitely the best of a bad situation. I mean, Batman's not going to kill him, but this way he will still die and he will stop hurting others. So, you know what I mean. But, again, it's not really what Batman would do. He is compelled to save people, so I don't believe for a second that he would let him die if this was like a comic film or anything else. I really don't. Well, unless it was Batman Begins, of course, but that's another story. But of course, that is just my opinion. I think this one is the best, but I could be alone in that. I mean, what do you think? Because I would love to know what you all think the real Batman would actually do in that situation. I mean, I think he would save him, but what do you think? So please let us know your thoughts in the comments, because I really do want to know, along with which one of these is your favourite. And of course, if you have another time that his code was tested that you think was more interesting than the ones I've mentioned, I mean, definitely let us know about that, because, well, I want to know, and so do others. So please let us know your thoughts. And I'd just like to quickly remind everyone that we have some merchandise available on our store, and to say thanks to all of you who have donated to the Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.